In 1879, a 16-year-old boy named Henry Ford left his family's farm in Dearborn, Michigan, and set out for the bustling city of Detroit. At the time, the primary means of transportation were trains and horse-drawn carriages, and automobiles were little more than experimental playthings for the wealthy. Henry was an ambitious young man with a deep curiosity about machines, and he was determined to find a way to leave his mark on the world. 35 years later, he would achieve something truly remarkable. Half of all the cars on Earth bore his name. That young farm boy grew up to become one of the wealthiest and most influential men in American history, forever changing the way we think about transportation, manufacturing, and even labor. This is the incredible story of Henry Ford and the legacy of the Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, on his father's farm in what is now Dearborn, Michigan. His father, William Ford, was an Irish immigrant who owned a modest plot of land where he raised his family of 6 children. As the eldest son, Henry was expected to inherit the farm and carry on the family tradition. However, Henry despised farming. He found the work grueling, repetitive, and slow. It wasn't the farm he loved, it was his mother, Mary Ford, who had always encouraged his curiosity and creativity. Tragically, Mary died when Henry was just a teenager, leaving him devastated. The loss deepened his resentment for farm life, which he saw as a painful reminder of her absence. From a young age, Henry had been fascinated by machinery. When he was 12 years old, his father gave him a pocket watch, which he promptly took apart and reassembled. Soon, he was repairing watches for neighbors and earning a reputation as a skilled watchmaker. But it wasn't just watches that captivated him. Henry was fascinated by anything mechanical. A school trip to Detroit introduced him to a steam engine for the first time, and he was immediately hooked. By the age of 15, he had built his own small steam engine, a remarkable achievement for someone with limited resources and no formal training. At the age of 16, Henry made the bold decision to leave his family's farm and move to Detroit. The city was rapidly becoming an industrial hub, and Henry was eager to learn everything he could about machinery. His first job was at the Michigan Car Company, which manufactured streetcars. Unfortunately, he was fired after just 6 days. Undeterred, Henry found work as a machinist's apprentice, earning a meager $2.60 a week. To make ends meet, he took a night job repairing watches, working 6 hours a night for an additional $3 a week. Despite his grueling schedule, Henry spent every spare moment learning about machines and improving his skills. By 1882, Henry had returned to Michigan, but he had no intention of resuming farm work. Instead, he began experimenting with machinery on his father's farm. One of his projects involved a portable steam engine that had become popular among farmers. Henry's expertise with the machine quickly earned him a reputation as a talented mechanic, and he began working for the Westinghouse Engine Company, servicing steam engines across southern Michigan. This job allowed Henry to further refine his mechanical skills while earning a modest income. In 1885, Henry met Clara Bryant at a New Year's Eve party. The two quickly fell in love and married the following year. Clara would remain Henry's steadfast partner throughout his life, providing him with emotional support and encouragement. As a wedding gift, Henry's father gave the young couple 40 acres of land. However, instead of farming it, Henry used the property as a workshop for his experiments. In 1891, Henry and Clara moved to Detroit, where Henry took a job as a night engineer at the Edison Illuminating Company. This job was a turning point in his life. Not only did it provide him with a steady income, but it also gave him the opportunity to learn about electricity, a cutting-edge technology at the time. Henry quickly rose through the ranks, and in 1893, he was promoted to chief engineer. That same year, he built his first working gas engine. This was a crucial step toward his ultimate goal, creating a horseless carriage. On June 4, 1896, Henry completed his first experimental car, which he called the quadricycle. The vehicle was essentially 2 bicycles placed side by side, powered by a small gasoline engine. While it was a remarkable achievement, the quadricycle had its flaws. It lacked a reverse gear, had no cooling system, and was prone to overheating. Despite these issues, Henry sold the vehicle for $200 and used the money to fund further experiments. With financial backing from Detroit investors, Henry founded the Detroit Automobile Company in 1899. Unfortunately, the company failed within a year due to disagreements between Henry and his investors. The stakeholders wanted to focus on producing passenger cars. while Henry was more interested in improving the technology behind the vehicles. The failure was a significant setback, but Henry saw it as an opportunity to learn and improve. He famously said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." Determined to prove himself, Henry turned to racing cars. In 1901, he built a high-performance vehicle that defeated a car driven by Alexander Winton, one of the nation's top racers. This victory caught the attention of new investors, and in 1903, Henry founded the Ford Motor Company. This time, he was determined to succeed. He focused on creating affordable, reliable cars for the average American, a stark contrast to the expensive, high-end vehicles produced by other manufacturers. In 1908, Ford introduced the Model T, a car that would revolutionize the automotive industry. Priced at $850, about $25,000 in today's money, the Model T was simple, durable, and easy to maintain. Its affordability and reliability made it an instant hit, and within days of its release, 15,000 orders had been placed. The Model T's success was unprecedented, and by 1914, Ford was producing more cars than all other manufacturers combined. The key to the Model T's success was Ford's innovative use of the assembly line. Inspired by the production methods he observed in a Chicago meatpacking plant, Henry adapted the assembly line for automobile manufacturing. This allowed workers to assemble cars in a fraction of the time it took using traditional methods. Production time for the Model T dropped from 12 hours to just 90 minutes, and by 1914, Ford was producing over 300,000 vehicles a year. Ford also revolutionized labor practices. In 1914, he introduced the $5 workday, doubling the wages of his workers and reducing their shifts to 8 hours. Critics mocked the movie, claiming it would bankrupt the company, but the opposite happened. The higher wages attracted skilled workers from across the country, and productivity soared. Other companies were forced to follow suit, setting a new standard for labor in the United States. Despite his success, Henry Ford was not without his flaws. He was stubborn, opinionated, and often unwilling to listen to advice. He clung to the Model T long after its popularity began to wane, ignoring the growing demand for more stylish and comfortable cars. By the late 1920s, declining sales forced him to shut down the Model T assembly line and introduce a new car, the Model A. While the Model A was a success, it marked the beginning of a decline for Ford Motor Company. By the 1930s, the company had fallen behind General Motors and Chrysler in market share. Henry Ford's later years were marked by personal and professional challenges. His son, Edsel, who had taken over as president of the company, died of stomach cancer in 1943. Devastated, Henry returned to the company to take over its operations, but was no longer the dynamic leader he had once been. In 1945, he handed control of the company to his grandson, Henry Ford II, and retired to his estate. Despite his passing in 1947, Henry Ford's influence on the automotive industry and American culture continued to shape the future of Ford Motor Company and the broader landscape of global manufacturing. Under the leadership of his grandson, Henry Ford II, the company entered a new era, navigating post-war challenges and innovations that would redefine the automobile once again. The first significant task Henry Ford II faced was rebuilding the company's reputation and operations, which had faltered during the final years of his grandfather's leadership. Ford Motor Company was no longer the dominant force it had been. Competitors like General Motors and Chrysler had gained significant market share. The company needed a modern approach to regain its competitive edge. Henry Ford II, with a fresh perspective and the energy of a new generation, began to implement sweeping changes. One of his first moves was to hire a group of former U.S. military officers and management experts, famously dubbed the Whiz Kids. This team of young professionals brought innovative ideas, advanced organizational strategies, and a data-driven approach to problem-solving. Their efforts were instrumental in streamlining the company's operations and bringing it into the modern era of business management. The post-war years also saw a shift in consumer preferences. Americans returning from World War II were eager to embrace new technologies, and the automobile became a symbol of freedom and prosperity. To capitalize on this trend, Ford introduced new models that appealed to the growing middle class. The 1949 Ford was a particularly notable success, featuring a sleek, modern design that captured the spirit of the era. This car marked the beginning of Ford's recovery, helping the company regain its footing in a competitive market. As the 1950s progressed, Ford continued to innovate. One of its most iconic achievements was the introduction of the Thunderbird in 1955. This stylish two-seat convertible was designed to compete with Chevrolet's Corvette, but it offered a more refined and luxurious driving experience. The Thunderbird became an instant classic, embodying the glamour and optimism of mid-century America. The company also made significant advances in safety and engineering. In 1956, Ford introduced the Lifeguard design package, which included features like a padded dashboard, seat belts, and a deep-dish steering wheel designed to reduce injuries in the event of a collision. Although these innovations were not immediately embraced by consumers, they demonstrated Ford's commitment to improving automobile safety, a concern that would gain increasing attention in the decades to come. Ford's influence wasn't limited to the domestic market. During the 1960s, the company expanded its presence internationally, establishing manufacturing plants and partnerships in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. This global strategy not only increased Ford's market share, but also solidified its reputation as a leader in the automotive industry worldwide. The 1960s also brought one of Ford's most famous and enduring creations, the Mustang. Introduced at the 1964 World's Fair, the Mustang was a game-changer. Affordable, sporty, and highly customizable, it appealed to a wide range of buyers, particularly younger consumers looking for a car that reflected their individuality. The Mustang's success was immediate and overwhelming, with over 1 million units sold within its first 2 years of production. The car became a cultural icon, immortalized in films, music, and the imaginations of car enthusiasts around the world. However, the 1970s brought new challenges. Rising fuel prices, increasing environmental concerns, and stricter government regulations forced automakers to rethink their designs. Ford responded by introducing more fuel-efficient models and investing in research to develop cleaner technologies. The company also faced stiff competition from Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda, which were gaining popularity with their reliable and economical vehicles. In response to these challenges, Ford took bold steps. The introduction of the Ford Pinto in 1971 was an attempt to produce a small, affordable car that could compete with imports. While the Pinto initially achieved sales success, it became mired in controversy due to safety concerns, particularly its vulnerability to fuel tank fires in rear-end collisions. The Pinto scandal tarnished Ford's reputation and highlighted the growing importance of safety in the automotive industry. Despite setbacks, Ford continued to innovate during the 1980s and 1990s. The company introduced popular models like the Ford Taurus, which set new standards for aerodynamics and design in the mid-size sedan market. The Taurus became one of the best-selling cars in America, demonstrating Ford's ability to adapt to changing consumer preferences. Ford also embraced emerging technologies during this period. The company invested heavily in computer-aided design and manufacturing, improving efficiency and precision in its production processes. Additionally, Ford began to explore alternative energy sources, developing prototypes for electric and hybrid vehicles. As the new millennium approached, Ford faced a rapidly changing landscape. The rise of globalization, advances in technology, and shifting consumer expectations required the company to innovate like never before. Under the leadership of executives like Alan Mulally, Ford underwent a dramatic transformation. The One Ford strategy, introduced in the late 2000s, aimed to unify the company's operations worldwide, streamlining production and focusing on core brands. One of the most notable successes of this era was the Ford F-Series, which became the best-selling vehicle in the United States for decades. The F-Series trucks embodied Ford's commitment to durability, innovation, and meeting the needs of its customers. The introduction of the aluminum-bodied F-150 in 2015 demonstrated Ford's willingness to take risks and embrace cutting-edge materials to improve performance and fuel efficiency. As Ford Motor Company ventures further into the 21st century, its future is defined by a commitment to innovation, sustainability, and adapting to the ever-changing demands of global markets. The automotive industry is undergoing one of its most significant transformations since the invention of the assembly line, and Ford is determined to lead the charge into a new era of mobility. With a strong focus on electric vehicles, advanced technology, and sustainable practices, the company is poised to redefine what it means to drive in the modern age. One of the cornerstones of Ford's vision for the future is its aggressive push into the electric vehicle market. The transition to EVs is not just a response to changing consumer preferences. It's a necessity in light of global efforts to reduce carbon emissions and combat climate change. Ford is committed to investing over $50 billion in EV development by 2026, a significant increase over previous years. This investment includes building new EV manufacturing facilities, expanding its battery production capabilities, and creating a robust charging infrastructure. Leading this charge is the Ford Model e division, a dedicated arm of the company focused solely on designing and producing electric vehicles. This division is responsible for the development of cutting-edge EV platforms and technologies that will underpin Ford's future electric lineup. The goal is to deliver vehicles that not only meet but exceed the expectations of modern consumers in terms of performance, range, and affordability. Ford's current EV lineup, which includes the popular Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning, has already made waves in the industry. The Mustang Mach-E, launched in 2020, blends the iconic design and performance of the Mustang with the sustainability of electric power. Its success has proven that Ford can seamlessly merge heritage with innovation. Similarly, the F-150 Lightning, an electric version of America's best-selling truck, has redefined what a pickup can be, offering impressive towing capacity, cutting-edge technology, and the ability to serve as a mobile power source during emergencies. Looking ahead, Ford has announced plans to introduce several new EV models across various segments, including SUVs, crossovers, and commercial vehicles. One of the most anticipated releases is the next-generation Ford Explorer EV, a fully electric version of the company's popular midsize SUV. Designed to appeal to families and adventure seekers, the Explorer EV will feature a spacious interior, advanced driver assistance systems, and a range of over 300 miles on a single charge. Its rugged design and off-road capabilities will ensure it stays true to the Explorer's adventurous spirit. Another key addition to Ford's EV lineup is the Lincoln Star, an electric luxury SUV under the company's Lincoln brand. The Lincoln Star aims to elevate the EV experience with a focus on premium materials, state-of-the-art technology, and a serene driving environment. It reflects Ford's commitment to bringing sustainable mobility to the luxury market, while maintaining the elegance and sophistication that Lincoln customers expect. Ford is also expanding its presence in the commercial EV market, a segment that is expected to grow rapidly in the coming years. The E-Transit, an all-electric version of Ford's best-selling transit van, has already been well received by businesses looking to reduce their carbon footprint. Building on this success, Ford plans to release additional electric vans and trucks tailored to the needs of logistics companies, contractors, and fleet operators. These vehicles will be equipped with features like enhanced connectivity and fleet management tools, making them indispensable for businesses transitioning to greener operations. In addition to its EV initiatives, Ford is heavily investing in autonomous driving and advanced vehicle technologies. The company's Blue Cruise system, a hands-free driving technology, is already available in select models and has received high praise for its ease of use and reliability. Blue Cruise represents a significant step toward fully autonomous vehicles, offering features like lane centering, adaptive cruise control, and automatic lane changes. Ford's partnership with Argo AI, an autonomous vehicle technology company, has been instrumental in advancing its self-driving capabilities. While Argo AI is currently focused on developing Level 4 autonomous driving systems capable of operating without human intervention under specific conditions, Ford plans to gradually introduce these technologies into its commercial vehicle lineup. Autonomous delivery vans and ride-sharing vehicles could become a reality within the next decade, revolutionizing logistics and urban mobility. Connectivity is another key area of focus for Ford. The company is leveraging over-the-air updates to enhance its vehicle's performance and functionality over time. This technology allows Ford to deliver software upgrades, add new features, and improve existing systems without requiring a visit to the dealership. It ensures that Ford vehicles remain cutting-edge throughout their lifespan, providing customers with added value and convenience. The integration of artificial intelligence is also transforming the way Ford designs and manufactures its vehicles. AI-powered tools are being used to optimize production processes, predict maintenance needs, and personalize the driving experience. For instance, Ford's AI systems can analyze data from sensors to identify potential issues before they become serious problems, enhancing vehicle reliability and reducing downtime. Sustainability is not just a buzzword for Ford, it's a fundamental part of its strategy for the future. The company has set ambitious goals to achieve carbon neutrality globally by 2050 and reduce greenhouse gas emissions from its operations and vehicles significantly by 2035. To achieve these targets, Ford is focusing on three key areas: electrification, renewable energy, and sustainable materials. Ford's new manufacturing facilities, such as the Blueville City Complex in Tennessee, are designed to be models of sustainability. These plants will rely on renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind, to power their operations. They will also incorporate water recycling systems and waste reduction programs to minimize their environmental impact. The company is also leading the charge in using sustainable materials in its vehicles. From recycled plastics to plant-based composites, Ford is finding innovative ways to reduce its reliance on traditional materials. The Ford Bronco, for example, features parts made from a unique material called agave composite, which is derived from the waste produced during tequila production. Initiatives like this demonstrate Ford's commitment to sustainability without compromising quality or performance. As governments worldwide implement stricter emissions regulations and offer incentives for EV adoption, Ford is positioning itself as a leader in the transition to sustainable transportation. The company has already announced plans to phase out internal combustion engine vehicles in Europe by 2030, focusing exclusively on electric and hybrid models. In the US, Ford is working closely with policymakers and utility companies to expand the EV charging network, making it easier for customers to embrace electric mobility. The recent announcement of the Ford Pro Charging Initiative underscores the company's dedication to supporting EV owners. This program aims to create a seamless charging experience by integrating hardware, software, and services. It includes home charging solutions, public charging partnerships, and fleet charging options, ensuring that customers have access to reliable and convenient charging infrastructure wherever they go. Ford Motor Company's future is brighter than ever, fueled by a century-old legacy of innovation and a forward-looking approach to the challenges of today. With its ambitious investments in electric vehicles, advanced technology, and sustainability, Ford is not just keeping pace with the industry, it's leading the way. The vehicles of tomorrow will not only be faster, safer, and more efficient, but will also reflect a commitment to protecting our planet for future generations. For Ford, the road ahead is one of transformation and opportunity. As the company continues to push the boundaries of what's possible, it remains true to the vision of its founder, Henry Ford, to create vehicles that are accessible, innovative, and built for the great multitude. The next chapter of Ford's story is just beginning, and the journey promises to be as revolutionary as the one that started over a century ago. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to stay updated and support the channel. Make sure to check out the other videos on the channel. Don't forget to join us next time as we explore the future of mobility.